The views and opinions expressed on the following program are
Coming in
those of
hot.
the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the policy or position of ONTV's management, staff, or board of directors.
In other words, we're going to say some things you might not agree with, but that's okay. Time for another fabulous episode of
Talking New.
where we talk censored, uncut, unfiltered, pretty much all the time about.
Talking New.
I mean, it's a beautiful day outside. We can take off our clothes, run around ONTV, and be.
Talking New.
I mean, could you imagine if we were at the banquet center, event center, and we were just.
Talking New.
And everybody just decided to take off their clothes, and everybody was just laughing and just.
Talking New.
It would just be great. I mean, it'd just be an honest thing to do.
Talking New.
I mean, what is your favorite Three Stooges? Could you imagine them?
Talking Nude? What? You actually said censored where we talk censored. We don't talk censored. We talk
Uncensored.
uncensored.
Did I say censored?
Yes, you did.
I'm fired. We need a new host. Good
Hello,
morning.
hello,
Good
hello.
morning. Hey, everybody. We're coming in hot. This amplifier is really good. He said our other amp was. Shout out to Ian, man. He replaced our amp. So apparently our amp wasn't projecting as much.
Oh.
If you notice, we're very crisp and clear and bold this morning. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another fabulous, spectacular, awesome episode of
Talking New.
where we talk live, uncensored, uncut, unfiltered,
There you go.
unedited about whatever the fuck we want to. Why? Because it's
Talking New.
I'm one of your hosts, Jason, and this is my beautiful, sexy wife that looks like she's very cold over there, Mrs. Kathy. How you
Yes,
doing,
hello,
babe?
Hello. Yes, I have a blanket on me today because I forgot my hoodie. And it's cold in here. I'm always cold, so.
She's always cold. Like on our way here, she was cold. Like I was trying to get like some rub time because I love my rub time. Like it's nothing like getting rub time. Makes you feel good, sets the tone for the day.
I
And
bet.
then she stopped, and I just was like, kind of nudging her, and then
And
she's
I
like,
said, my arm
"I'm
is cold.
So I had to get our movie blanket. And anyone that don't know what a movie blanket is, clearly a dumbass. Because any movie you go to, you always want to have a movie blanket of some sort. So we have a guest this morning. We're kind of coming in a little later this morning. So we are going to talk some shit for a few minutes and then bring him in. And I'm really excited about our guest this morning, man. Like, I'm really.
Yes, he is.
So to remember this, don't forget this Pink Floyd, because that's one of the things I didn't put in the questions because I noticed it later on. He's a big Pink Floyd fan, and he actually did a caricature of David Gilmour and Roger Waters. Is it Waters? I don't fucking know. Can you Google it? Is it Roger
I
Waters?
don't know.
Or I don't think it's Walters. I think it's Roger Waters. Damn. Anyway, I fucked that up. But Pink Floyd is honestly like one of the best bands from the 70s, really the late 60s and 70s. And I'm sure he knows a little bit about it. And he was actually talking about a couple albums that I actually liked. Dark Side of the Moon being one of them. Honestly, it was one of the highest rated consecutive albums in the 70s back then. It was on the charts for like, I think 105 weeks or some shit. It was a ridiculous long time. But we are going to bring our guest in. And let me make sure I got the sound effect queued up. And let's reach out to him. All right. Let's see. This is so live, y'all. I'm putting in. Kathy's over there on her phone on TikTok.
No, I'm not on TikTok. I'm on Facebook.
Uh-huh.
I know,
let-
right? Waiting
let
for
me-
him.
Let me find out.
Ew, honey. Why'd you post this video on me
What
of me
video?
making the frowny faces at you?
Because it was funny.
Gross.
What do you mean? Why?
Jason's always got some
Why do
camera in my
I
face.
why do
you
I
guys.
always do the things that I do?
He's always got some camera in my face.
All right, here we go. We're going
Alrighty.
live.
Live talking news.
Live on Talking Nude.
This is Tom.
Good morning, Tom. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I don't know if you can hear the applause, but we got the applause going. So
All right.
we were just talking about how your last. First off, let me introduce everyone here. So this is the show Talking Nude. My wife Kathy and myself.
hello.
We've been doing this for 3 years
Kathy.
now. We just recently had a banquet event. They gave us Podcast of the Year, which was really unexpected. It was really cool. and
Wow.
I've been following you for quite a while, actually. I've been collecting Mad magazines forever, and you actually had a caricature of Pink Floyd. Um, so what it was, and I have to ask, was it Roger Waters or Roger Walters that was in the band?
Roger Waters.
That's what I thought. That's see now, 'cause I'm sitting there messing his name up. I'm like, I felt so bad. My favorite album that they ever did, Dark Side of the Moon, clearly. And if I don't know, I'm sure you know this as well. It was one of the highest consecutive rated albums of like the 70s. Like, wasn't it like 105 weeks or something? It was like a crazy amount of time.
I think I might still have a record for that, actually.
Oh, I believe it.
Like the best selling album. Maybe not in the many decades since it's come out, but for the longest time, I believe it was. I'm no music expert, but I was I was a fan of the band and um, loved their music, and yeah, for sure.
Nice. Well, guess what? We got some questions for you, and I'm really just excited for you being on the show,
Honey,
man.
don't forget to introduce him.
I did. Oh, I'm fired.
He's so excited
I
about
am
this
so
interview.
excited.
He's
I really
been
am.
excited about this interview.
I am.
He,
So this guy has been working with Mad Magazine since I believe 2000, 25 years. His style of art is just amazing. It reminds me of like the late Mort Drucker. Like it's such your likeness and the resemblance that you do in your caricatures is just is spot on. Like I really enjoy it. I show it to my coworkers all the time at the plant, and they just enjoy it. So our guest today, y'all, is Mad Magazine's very own Tom Richmond.
woo!
Yes.
Jason's been so excited about this interview. Like,
have.
so excited. He almost forgot to introduce you.
I know we were just going right into a conversation.
He's been so excited.
So our first question I have for you is, how did you get interested in art and illustration? Like, who inspired you?
Well, I was inspired as a kid. Like I really loved the Batman TV show.
Yes.
And I was born in '66, which was when the show was on, so I was a little too young, obviously, to see it on broadcast. But when I was like, my parents tell me stories all the time about how when I was 2 years old, I would run around with a bath towel wrapped around my neck um, and run when I heard the theme music playing on the TV. They would let me watch it. And then my dad worked at a grocery store. He was a manager of a grocery store, and he would bring home the comics from the spinner racks that didn't sell when the new ones came out. And I had piles of these comics and Batman, Superman, the Marvel comics. And I also liked humor comics. I loved the Richie Rich and the Harvey books. So it was really Batman, the TV show, and then that sort of led me into comics, and then that's what got me into drawing. I would draw my own comics, and I
Wow,
just
that's
loved to draw
cool.
since I was a little kid.
That is really
I like
great.
that.
And I like how like you were running around with the cape because I could totally see that. You know what I mean? Like I knew you were a big Batman fan when I saw the tribute you did to Val Kilmer, and then when you were doing an interview with another podcast recently, you had the bat suit in there, like from the Tim
Right.
Burton 1990s Batman. I just was like, oh my god, this guy is like freaking awesome. Um, I see that Mort Drucker is one of your favorite artists. He's definitely mine as well. Um, I really like his realistic depiction of characters in movies like he did with like Charles Bronson and also Batman. But speaking of Batman, who would be one of your favorite Batman characters?
Like from the comics.
Yes.
Other than Batman, the
Hmm.
best thing about Batman was his rogues gallery.
Oh yeah.
His villains. He had the funnest villains and the most creative ones. Of the Joker, Penguin, the Riddler. All those are just such fun, cool characters. And so I like the villains as much as I like the hero.
Oh yeah. I really like what is it, Doctor Freeze or Mister Freeze, right? Isn't it Mister Freeze?
Mr. Freeze. Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Freeze,
Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
like his story that they put, with him and his wife, Nora, and how he basically just was doing all these robberies and everything because he just wanted to, get the components that he needed so that he could save her life, and bring her back.
Right.
So our next question we have is, I know you probably seen it. Did you see the recent Batman movie with Robert Pattinson, and what did you think of it?
Well, actually, Desmond Devlin, the writer for Mad, and I did the spoof of that movie in Mad.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah, I
Really?
saw it.
Really?
Yeah, on their 70th anniversary issue, Mad had stopped doing new material a year or two before that,
Hmm.
but they decided to, it was 70 years, so they decided to do some new stuff for that issue, and one of the things was a full movie parody of the Pattinson movie. I liked it. I'm one of those guys that can enjoy different takes on characters I like.
Hmm.
Like I still love the Adam West Batman TV show. That was a campy, goofy comedy, and I like the darker takes on the character, and so I can appreciate all that sort of stuff. I get it. It wasn't a movie that a lot of some people just didn't like it because they thought it was slow paced and everything. But it was a slow burn basically, and a lot of moody atmosphere, and a lot of the action bits were spaced out. But what I liked the best about it was that it was really the first time in the movies anyway that they depicted Batman as a detective.
Yeah, that's true.
He was figuring out what was going on, and most of the movies are just him kicking people's butts, with all of his gadgets and stuff. So I enjoyed that, and I thought Robert Pattinson did exactly what he was supposed to do. He was
Yeah.
supposed to be a moody, kind of depressed Batman that was questioning his effectiveness and whether he was, accomplishing anything. And so yeah, I'm hoping that when they're supposed to do a second one,
Hmm.
that it'll be a little bit more of the Batman that I more like to see. I don't like the where he's all depressed and everything.
Oh,
I
okay.
get it. He's supposed to be psychologically scarred, but he's still a hero.
Right.
That's cool. Well, I do have a question. Also, since you're a person who draws and illustrates, what inspires you to get you in the mood to draw? Is it anything particular? Do you have a certain like ritual or routine that you do before you get started, or does it just come off the top?
I guess when you do something for a living, you don't have the luxury of waiting until you're inspired to do something. Deadlines have a tendency to get out of hand that way. So I've got a project to work on. I sit down and start working on it, and some days it's more fun than other days. But honestly, I love drawing so much that all I have to do is just start doing it. And even if I'm in a bad mood, or I'm having a lousy day, or there's something else I'd rather be doing, it doesn't take me very long to get lost in the job and the drawing, and then it's just it's then it just becomes what I do. So I
Nice.
don't
I
have
like
a
that.
muse. I don't need to do push-ups or anything first. I just get started.
Get like a protein drink real quick.
Is there is there a such thing as illustrator block where you get blocked, or is that just for like writer's block kind of thing?
uh, that's an interesting question. In particular, doing caricatures, because you have to, and a lot of my work is about drawing likenesses of people. There are some times where the likenesses they're just not coming, you know,
Mm.
or especially I might be struggling with a particular face, like just this face, and I just cannot seem to get it to look the way I want it to look. It's missing something, and that's kind of a block. There's something in the way that's
Yeah.
preventing me from seeing it. And so what I have to do then is I have to get up and I have to go do something else
Oh,
for a little
okay.
while.
And then you come back
And
to it.
usually that's all it takes. Yeah, usually
Oh.
that's all it takes. It's just a reset, you know, of my head, and then I come back with fresh eyes, and then most of the time I realize, oh, okay, I'm trying to make this guy's face too long, and it needs to be squatter, and then all of a sudden it clicks. So yeah, sometimes it just rolls off the end of the pencil, and sometimes it's more of a struggle. Always get there in the end, but sometimes it takes longer, and sometimes I have to take a break from the work to keep my eyes fresh, I guess.
So a lot of people might not know this, but like I said, you've been with Mad Magazine for 25 years, but how did you guys get linked up in that wonderful world? I mean, like it's I could just imagine the excitement, the anticipation. Like, how did that come about? I mean, you're like you're in the pantheon of Mad Magazine artists now. Like you're right up there with me with like the greats. You know what I'm saying? Like, how did that happen?
Well, uh, well, I started doing caricatures as a summer job when I was going to college, and I got a job at a theme park
Okay.
doing
Mm.
caricatures, and I loved Mad when I was growing up, you know,
Hmm.
and then I kind of got away from it for a while. Um, when I was late teenager and stuff, and I guess I thought maybe I needed to think about doing serious art or whatever that is.
Hmm.
And then I got this job doing caricatures at this theme park, and it was down near Chicago, and I was going to school in St. Paul, Minnesota, and so I had to move down to the Chicago area to work this summer job, and I lived in a townhouse with all these other caricature artists and airbrush T-shirt artists that worked for this company. We had a couple of summer townhome type situation, and we all just bunked together. And these other caricatures all had stacks of Mad magazines with them laying around, and I hadn't seen one in probably 5 years. And I picked one up and I started looking at the art, going, "Oh man, was this art this good when I was looking at it as a kid?" Because I was looking at you know, the Don Martin cartoons and the Booger jokes and stuff,
Oh yeah.
and uh, and I was so I dug all my old Mads. I was like, oh yeah, Mark Drucker, Jack Davis, those guys were giants and freaking unbelievably talented. And when you do caricatures, Mad Magazine's like the ultimate place to do them.
Oh yeah.
So this was back in the mid '80s, and I was going to college at the time, and I frankly didn't have the drawing chops to at that point to even be seriously considered to work for anything like that. And then I graduated from school, and I went, started doing my caricatures on my own with my own operations, and started doing magazine illustration stuff. And I got a job doing comic books for a company called Now Comics out of Chicago, and they had a title called Married with Children that was based on the TV show.
Really?
And what they wanted was a kind of a mad style of art with caricatures of the stars of the show, but it was a little bit more of a kind of an animated sort of cartoony version. It wasn't anywhere near as detailed or illustrative as the Mad caricatures are known for. Um, but I started sending work to Matt, and to make a long story short, it was in the late '90s that I finally got a chance to. I finally got their attention, and um, then I finally got an opportunity to do it. And yeah, I'm sure that you've heard of Cracked magazine, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So Cracked is kind of like a ripoff of Mad, but one of the more successful ones that have been around for quite a long time.
Hmm.
And I started working for Cracked, and
Really?
I was doing movie and TV parodies for Cracked. Yeah, how it came about was I became president of the national, at the time it was called the National Caricaturist Network, um, which was an organization of professional caricature artists, and we had um, these occasional um, conventions and like little meetings and stuff where we'd have a guest speaker, and then we'd sit around and draw each other for like a whole weekend.
Oh
Oh
And
wow.
wow.
we did one in Connecticut when I was president, and I got Sam Viviano to be our guest speaker. And Sam had been an artist for Mad for probably at that point, maybe close to 20 years, 15 years,
Hmm.
but he had just become the art director of the magazine.
I remember that.
And this was in 99.
Hmm.
And um, so I did a parody. I wrote it and drew it myself, a parody of the movie Godzilla with Matthew Broderick from around that time. I think that was like 98 that came out. And so I did a full parody of it to show to Sam when he was our guest speaker. And I showed it to him. He looked at it and he thought, he gave me some frank advice. He said, "Yeah, this is pretty good, and you're close, but you need to refine your style more and a few other things." And in the meantime, Crack Magazine had just been bought by another company as part of a big deal, big media deal, and it was going to get canceled. And there was an art director on their staff named Dick Culpa, who was a cartoonist, and he asked the company, the new owners, if he could try to save Cracked. So he became the editor in chief, and didn't last very long, maybe about another year or two. But he was looking for new artists because one of the things he did was cut the page rate to the point where guys like John Severn and Art Bollinger and Wally Brogan would refuse to work for those crappy page rates. I was, a young kid still, and I was like, yeah, I'll do it. So I showed them the Godzilla piece, and they bought it and immediately published it. And then I did a couple more pieces for them over the years, or over the next couple issues. I did a Sopranos parody that I wrote myself, and then I worked with a writer on it, the movie X-Men 2, no, the original X-Men, and Gladiator.
Yep, I remember
And
that.
every time I would do, every time I would do one of these parodies, I would send it to Sam, and he'd get back to me and say, "Oh yeah, this is really, things are looking good." So when I finished that Gladiator parody, there was a lot of problems with that. Cracked was not run well, and um, it was originally supposed to be in color. They had a color section, and I colored the splash page, painstakingly spent hours coloring it, and then they decided to bump my piece to the black and white section.
Oh
So all that
wow.
time I spent coloring that splash page was wasted, and I wasn't too happy about that. And anyway, so I went to the National Cartoonist Society Reuben Awards weekend. That happened to be in New York City. I was a member of that organization, and Sam was there, and Nick Meglin, the editor of Mad, was there, and I showed him my Gladiator piece, and they both uh, finally saw what they were looking for,
Hmm.
and said, "Well, we like this. We'd love to give you some work for Mad, but here's the thing: we can't we can't promise you when that opportunity will happen. We've got the usual gang of idiots, and they get all the work. And then if there's an extra piece, or something we need somebody for that you might fit, we would give you a call and give you a shot. But we don't know when that's going to be." And the other problem is you can't have a byline in Cracked magazine and Mad magazine at the same time.
Right.
That's against our policy. And I said, "Oh, that's no problem. I don't work for Cracked anymore." And he said, "Really? When did that happen?" And I said, "That happened 3 seconds ago."
Wow.
And they said, "Wait a minute now. We can't guarantee it might be a year before we give you a piece." I said, "That's okay. I'm done working for Cracked." And I really was, because that little thing with the Gladiator color was kind of the iceberg that broke the Titanic. So
Well, yeah,
I
because you
just
put you put a lot of time and effort into that. You know what I mean? Probably hours putting it together and doing the sketching and the pre-sketches and then the rendering. So for them to do that, it was just like a slap in the face. It was like, oh well, we're gonna put you over here. Well, no, wait a minute, you're not seeing what I did. Like they
yeah.
and I hate when people do that. You know what I mean? Because but the crazy thing about it is when one door closed, another one immediately opened for you because Sam saw something in you. You know what I mean? And Sam knows his
Yeah.
stuff. Like he did. One of my favorite spoofs that he did was the Honeymooners. I love
Oh,
that one
right.
with Jackie Gleason. I love Jackie
Hmm.
Gleason. So he saw something in you, and Nick saw something in you, so it was at the right time. Crack just wasn't for you, but Mad was.
Yeah, and it wasn't very long. It was only like a month or two later that they gave me a piece, and then I got another piece, and then I did a movie or TV parody, and then it was after that, I was in it pretty regularly for a long time.
So I gotta ask you, when you and Desmond were doing the Claptrap book, and thank you so much, you guys, too, for I got the autographed one of both you guys.
Oh,
It's
cool.
amazing. Like, as soon as I got it, I devoured it. I didn't want to like read the whole thing all the way through, so I like picked my favorite ones off the top, like Blues Brothers, the Blues Blunder, and Goodfellas. So I gotta say, like, it was great to see that. What was the inspiration behind that? Like, where did that idea come from for you guys to do the Claptrap book? And when it came to doing, the movies that you guys did, that you satired in it, where did that all come about? And have you thought about doing a second one?
Well, yeah, we're starting to seriously contemplate a second one now. But well, Mad stopped doing new material in 2019.
I don't know. I was so
They
mad when they did that.
Yeah, and so and the movie and TV parodies were one of the first things they cut.
Mm.
And I got a call from Susie Hutchinson, who was the art director at the time, and she now is everything at Mad, publisher or editor and art director and everything else. But she said that they're cutting down to only some new material in every issue, and they weren't going to do any movie and TV parodies. And I said, well, why not? If you're going to do some new material, why not do the movie and TV parodies? Isn't that a staple of the magazine? It's like part of its identity.
Yeah,
And
it's
she
that's
said,
the huge
yeah,
part of it.
well, the bean counters at DC, just they were much more interested in IP development. So
Wow.
they wanted stuff that they could license out for cartoons or merchandise or TV shows. And Mad really doesn't have much of that. They've got Spy versus Spy,
Hmm.
and then they've got Alfred, but that's pretty limited as to what you can do with Alfred. And so they wanted more Spy versus Spy sort of stuff that they could do, and you can't license movie parodies.
They wanted more
So
cartoonish stuff then. So like how they were doing
yeah,
like the Mad collections, like the ones I'm talking about that are like Barnes and Noble, the hardcover ones that they had. They wanted to gear
right.
more towards the kids.
Yeah. Well, at any rate, they just didn't want to do that kind of work anymore. And Des and I were pretty sad about that. And so we decided, hey, why don't we do a book, just of nothing but movie parodies, and we can do some extra stuff, gag, shorter three or two page gag things with movie related themes, and we thought that was a good idea. And at first, we were going to do kind of a combination of old movies and new releases. It wasn't going to be just classic movies, and that was 2020. And something happened in 2020. I can't put my finger on it. That meant that there were no movies for like a year and a half, and so there were no new movies. And during the pandemic, and we decided, well, let's just pivot and just do nothing but classics. And that ended up, I mean, I thought that was actually a much better idea,
Oh, definitely.
because when you do, yeah, because when you do old, you do movies that everybody knows and are huge classics, and yet had never been done in Mad for whatever reason,
Yep.
you don't have any duds. I mean, you don't have a movie in there that people, maybe a lot of people didn't see
Exactly.
or didn't really care about. So we get to pick and choose. So we picked out six movies that we definitely wanted to do, and then as part of the crowdfunding thing, we allowed our backers to vote on the other four movies. We were only going to do 10,
Hmm.
and then we reached a point where stretch goal um, added another two movies. So the backers actually picked 6 of the movies, and we picked the other 6.
So which ones did you and Desmond pick?
Uh, we wanted to do, let's see, for sure the Star Wars movie we did. That was the first one we decided to do, Rise of Skywalker, because Mad had done all the other 8 main Star Wars trilogies. And then they stopped doing parodies before they did the last one. So that was the first one. Goodfellas is one we absolutely
Excellent
wanted to do.
choice.
Blade Runner was one I insisted we do. Unforgiven, I think, was one of them. And so what's that, 4?
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to remember which ones got picked. So I know the ones that the backers picked. Oh, another thing we did was we had, if you do, I'm sure you've seen lots of crowdfunding things where they've got different, perks at different tiers, and the more money you pay, the more perks you get.
Right.
And usually you've got some ridiculous top perk that is like, we'll fly to your place and cook you dinner and hand deliver the book or whatever, something like that.
Wow.
And, but what we did was we said we had 2 really high-end perks, and they all had gag names. Like the lowest one was the Klutz, and then the next one up was the Clod, and then there was the Schmendrick, and the that type of thing. So the ultimate one was called the Megalomaniac, and that was one where if you got that tier, you got to tell us what movie we do, and then I would draw you in the parody, and then you got all the original art.
Wow.
And it was a lot of dough, and we thought we had 2 of them there with that. Nobody's ever going to buy those. 2, they immediately sold, and so those 2 were picked by those 2 backers, and one of them was Psycho, which we were going to do anyway, by the way. So that was like, oh, bonus. That's not, because we were afraid they were going to choose like, Cats or something like that. That would have been awful.
That was a terrible.
So we got to do Psycho, yeah, which was a lot of fun. And then the other one was Toy Story 4,
which was another great one.
Which is kind of, it's a great movie. I mean, Toy Story movies are all great, but why Toy Story 4?
Exactly. What was the point? They just did it to get it.
The reason that we did Toy Story 4 with this guy picked it is because he was the director of Toy Story 4.
Cut it out. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
He worked for Pixar, and I knew Josh. We'd met years ago at a cartooning event, and he was a big Mad fan, and we exchanged originals, and so I knew him. So he wrote me and he says, okay, you're going to do my movie. And we're like, okay, that's great. So those 2 got picked, and then I know the Blues Brothers, Citizen Kane, the Big Lebowski, and I don't know.
Was the Die Hard one? Did you guys do the Die?
Oh, Die Hard might have been.
Yeah, Die Hard was.
Die Hard.
What was it? Try Hard.
Try Hard. Yeah.
What I loved about Mad Magazine, and not to get off topic a little bit, because we're still talking about it, but I always wonder, because like when they just totally changed up the content, to do less original content, I always wondered, because I never really dived deep to figure it out. But do you think they didn't want to do the satires of the movies and TV shows also because Warner Brothers was pushing them not to do it? You think?
No,
No.
I don't think that was a factor at all.
Because I always wondered that.
Mad had, long ago established that, I mean, actually having your movie parodied in Mad was something people wanted.
Exactly.
Even though it made fun of it, because it was, there was a time where Mad sold like 2 million copies per issue. And that, you can't buy that kind of publicity. So there were movie studios that would lobby Mad to do parodies of their movies. They would send them the press kits and stuff.
Oh wow.
Uh, but that those days were long gone, by the time I got started with Mad. And it's funny because Warner Brothers, because I did parodies of all the Batman, Christopher Nolan Batman movies. I did the art for all those, and Mort did the art for all the Batman, the Tim Burton ones
Hmm.
and the Joel Schumacher ones. Uh, and those were all Warner Brothers films, you know,
That's true.
and they made fun of them. They did not pull any punches, but the Warner Brothers didn't really care. DC didn't really care, but they also didn't help us. All the Harry Potter movies were Warner Brothers movies, and you would think that Mad being a Warner Brothers property, they could call up the movie onto things and say, "Hey, we're going to do a parody of the movie. Can you get us a screening, or can we get?" No, they wouldn't even talk to us.
See, and
They
that's
didn't
what
care
that's
that.
and not to interrupt, but that's why I think Warner Brothers was kind of hating a little bit. They were, they liked the publicity, but that they could control. But if they couldn't control it, they were like, "Oh no, no, we don't do that." That's it's kind of like,
Well, they definitely didn't stop us from doing it, but they didn't help us either.
man.
Which was a shame because we did some of those Harry Potter ones. There was a period of time where the editors at Mad, John Ficara in particular, was really hot to have Mad get the parodies out while the movies were still in theaters.
Hmm.
But that was pretty darn hard to do because, these days, even the really big movies only last for, maybe a month or two in the theaters and then
Yeah,
they're gone.
it's
And
crazy
it
now.
takes, yeah, it takes a while to do these parodies, and you got to write them and then draw them and then publish the magazine and get on the stands. So we were doing the Harry Potter ones before we actually saw the films, and we were using the book, you know, as the script sort of thing. And if you notice, if you see a Mad movie parody of one of the Harry Potter films, in virtually every one, there's at least a scene in the parody that never happens in the movie.
Yep,
It
that's
was
true.
in the book, but not in the movie. And so, but Warner Brothers wouldn't help us out. They wouldn't send us, any inside info.
See, they dropped the ball on
We
that
were,
one, man, because Harry Potter, like I read all the books and before I even seen the movie, all of them, and I enjoyed it. And I just was like, wow, I was blown away. So they really dropped the ball on that one because it was a huge craze back then. I remember everybody had Harry Potter backpacks, Harry Potter video games. I mean, it was just huge. So they could have totally, spread the subscription rate. People would have really enjoyed that.
well,
Yeah. So switching up a little bit, talking about books. What were some of the books that you like to read? Like, who are your favorite authors?
uh, well, growing up, I loved sci-fi and fantasy stories. So, my favorite books were the Tolkien books, and then I loved Robert E. Howard's Conan.
Okay.
A lot of it was because of the covers, the Frazetta covers and the Boris Vallejo covers, and the Grant edition covers, where the paperbacks are always cool. But I like classic science fiction too, like Asimov, Harlan Ellison. Um, but then nowadays, I like a lot of mystery and especially like espionage books.
Okay.
So I listen to a lot of audiobooks actually while I work. It's something that when I'm inking, especially when I'm coloring, it's kind of a nice way to focus and stay kind of focused in the studio. And I'm interested in the narrative that's going on in my ears, so I don't get up and go get something to eat or wander around. My studio's in my home, so there's a lot of distractions. But Frederick Forsyth is a big. I'm a big fan of his. Tom Clancy books are great. Um, David Baldacci, and then I'm a huge Stephen King fan.
Oh,
So
me too.
I've read read everything he's ever written multiple times.
So Tom, we got to talk
A lot
about
of
it.
his books are.
We got to talk about it. I had because I'm having a squirrel moment. The Dark Tower, incredible book
Mhm.
series, right? And then they had an
Yep.
opportunity to have Peter Jackson direct the series. Like he was going to do all of them, like how he did Lord of the Rings, which I have not seen all of them. So please don't slap me in a chair like Tony Soprano. I have not seen all of them, but I did read all the Dark Tower, and they really had an opportunity to do a great film. And then I watched it, and it was like they tried to squeeze all the books into one freaking movie.
Yeah, full disclosure, I never saw the Dark Tower movie.
You're not missing nothing. They had Matthew McConaughey
Yep,
as the villain, who doesn't play villains ever. Let's
yep.
be honest, he's never really a villain. And then they had Idris Elba play the gunslinger. And the thing about books, I'm sure you can relate to this. When you're reading a book, at least I know I do. I can envision the character, the voice, the tone, what ethnicity they might be, the way they
Mhm.
talk, the setting, all that, because Stephen King's very good at setting that pace. Um, a little side note: I read Mad Magazine and different books to Kathy in different
Yes,
voices.
he does.
Like we have like storybook time. I'll just go into different
Yeah, we
characters.
call it story time. And Jason, I like it because to me, I'm not like a comic reader at all. But Jason brings it to life. I'm telling you, like he reads the stuff. It's hilarious.
But yeah,
Awesome.
the drawing of the three. I mean, the songs of Susanna, like drawing, like the Dark Tower was just a great opportunity for them to capitalize and make something really special for the fans. And I was so disappointed. So please don't ever see that movie because it will totally, you'll be like, what were you thinking? Like, because they had like a different guy come in and
Yeah.
direct it because Peter decided to back out of it for whatever reason. I don't know what he was working on, but he backed out. And my guess is probably the same reason we're talking about it right now. He's probably like, what? Matthew McConaughey is the villain and Idris
Yeah.
Elba's the gunslinger? Like, no. So it reminded me of like the never ending story. That's what the book reminded me of. It was like a more darker version of the never ending story,
Hmm.
because
Yeah, I really never had an interest in seeing the movie.
yeah,
It was like this isn't really going to be Dark Tower,
Tom, don't see
so
it.
I'm just not going to
Don't
bother.
don't see it, Tom.
Yeah.
I watched it and I just was like, I watched it all the way through because I just wanted to see what they were gonna do with it, and they literally tried to squeeze all the books into one movie. And I felt like they were just rushing it because they're like, oh, okay, well, we're gonna do it like this, and then who cares if the movie does good? If it don't do good, well, we crammed all the books into one movie. I
Yeah,
have.
there's Hollywood's notorious for that sort of thing.
What is your favorite Stephen King book and maybe movie adaptation?
Uh, okay, so my favorite movie adaptation, and King hates it, is The Shining.
Are you serious?
And yep, and the thing is that I get why King hates it, but there are certain things in books that work in books and aren't going to work in the movies.
Right.
And Kubrick was smart enough to know that. And in fact, the one time I think that movie goes off the rails is when he was trying to get some of the weirdness of King's book into the movie that just didn't work, and that was the guy in the dog suit.
Mm-hmm.
And people watching the movie were like, "What the hell was that?" And if you read the books, you know where that comes from, but it didn't work. And the whole hedge animal thing, that was scary in the book. The hedge animals that would come to life, they were like they'd only move when you weren't looking at them, like the weeping angels from Doctor Who, and that worked really well in the book, but it would have been really ridiculous in the movie. So, I think Kubrick did a great job of capturing the isolation of
He
the
he did such
hotel,
a phenomenal job of that. I mean,
yeah.
and they were showing behind the scenes of Stanley Kubrick and how his film style was. The part where Jack Nicholson was in the freezer and how they had Stanley was on the ground on his back with the camera looking up at Jack Nicholson as he was like, Wendy, open the door. door, and he's like pounding on the door. And I mean, this just the images alone. I mean, even with the maze at the end of the movie. I remember seeing the movie when I was a kid. You know, I just turned 50 in March, and I remember seeing it, and I just was like, oh my god, it was mind blowing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He captured it, I used to have nightmares about that movie, like that the twins were trying to like they were fighting over me. It was some crazy stuff. They were like, "Come with us, Danny. Come play with us." But
Yeah, man, that was scary. I mean, it scared the crap out of me when I was a kid.
because it
I
was so
saw it,
real.
on like HBO or something.
Yep, same.
In our my parents were like out of town or whatever, and I was like 12 years old or 13 years old when I'm watching this movie, and I slept with the lights on.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And
It was
I
real.
was terrified.
And you know the crazy thing about what I really liked about The Shining, because let's be honest, a lot of the Stephen King books they're hit or miss on the movie adaptations. But when he did the
Yeah.
sequel years later, Doctor Sleep, oh my
Hmm.
God, it was incredible. Did you see this the sequel?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It was great.
Yeah.
It was because it was so deep how it talks about how when you're young you have this intuitive mindset where you kind of got this premonition of things that are going to come or have already happened. And as we get older, we start to dull the shine because of technology. And I mean, I just love how he interweaved that and connected that because it's true. I really believe that we all have that intuitive mindset, that spirit. Like my wife's a professional tarot reader, and
Hmm.
you know what I mean. So I call it intuitive counseling, like she always says, because it's the technology. You know, like I guess the question I would say is like, where is the disconnect coming, where people are getting out of touch reality? Like, where do you think that's coming from?
I don't know. I think it's a combination of people always having their nose in their devices and not really being as aware of the real world around them.
Yeah,
And you're almost living your life by through a screen instead of through your eyeballs, and
yeah.
That's very
there's a
true.
disconnect that happens, I think.
Are people messing up your orders when you go to drive-throughs or anything, customer service, because they're on their phones or earbuds? Has that happened to you yet?
I got people messing up my driving orders all the time, but I have no idea what why they do it. Probably has something to do with their
Oh, it's
too busy
definitely
texting and not paying
yeah,
attention.
it's definitely the devices because we had three incidents the other day, and the one that stood out the most is I went to Starbucks and I always get like a warm drink because I can't do hot because it just burns the roof of my mouth like incessantly. And so um I asked the guy, "Hey, could you make, my drink caramel macchiato, whatever, make it, warm, like his temperature?" And he's like, "Oh, sure, no problem." And the guy that made my drink made it scalding hot. And so I'm going outside and I didn't realize that I got a third-degree burn. 'Cause as soon as I get outside, I was like, "Tss,"
Oh,
right?
yikes!
Yeah, because everywhere you go, everyone's got their earbuds in or their phone. Like I work at GM at the plant, and so when I'm doing shipping and receiving, everyone's got their like devices out, and it's like what like that people aren't present in the real. You know what I mean? I think what's happened with the disconnect is like you said, people aren't in the reality
Or
of
the moment
the moment.
anymore.
Like you go to concerts, and people
Hmm.
got their phone out and they're just filming the whole damn concert because they want to put it on social media. It's one thing if you get a clip of it, but like I've been watching videos, they've been showing the bands and the singers been like smacking the phones out of their hand because it's like pay freaking attention.
To the moment, be in the
Yeah,
moment.
be in the moment. Um, so I gotta ask
Yeah.
because I was wondering this too. I didn't know if anyone was left from the original Gang of Idiots. Is because I know El Jeffy passed away recently. Wasn't he like 101,
102. Yeah.
102? So is anyone left from the original Gang of Idiots?
Yeah.
I know
Not
Sergio.
too many of the Sergio still is. He's
Mm,
still going strong. He's still working.
mm,
He's 87.
okay.
But you wouldn't know it, if you talked to him or met him, you'd think he was probably in his maybe early 70s.
Oh wow.
Um, yeah, he's a very like vital guy. He's bigger than life, and but he's still working. In fact, he does stuff for Mad now. Mad's gone back to doing a few new pages every month, get about 12 to 14 pages of new material. And one of the things they are doing again is the Mad Look At that Sergio does. So he's back to that. Of course, he still does Gru,
Yep. I love Gru.
and the comic, and he's very busy with private commissions and things for other projects. So I talk to him every week or two, FaceTime him or whatever. So he's still going strong. Angelo Torres just turned 94.
Wow. He did a
I
lot of the
was
TV
I was
satires.
Yeah, he would do most TV satires,
Yep.
and Mort would do the movies. Sometimes they would swap around, but I think Angelo was the king of TV satires. He did by far the most, and he's not working much. He does little stuff here and there just for fun.
You
But
said he's
yeah,
94.
so 94, yeah,
Wha-
he's
I-
still around, and he's one of the original
Oh
guys.
yeah, without a
Like
doubt.
he didn't start for Mad until the mid '60s, maybe, or late '60s.
Oh
But
wow.
he was good friends with and went to school with Frank Frazetta and Nick
Really?
Meglin, and yeah, and
Also, he
those
was
guys.
in
They
with
call
from the
themselves
beginning. Wow.
yeah, he worked for EC. He did like some of the Frontline Combat and some of their other titles. He never did anything for the horror titles, but he did like the war titles
I did
and
not
some of
know
the
that.
adventure ones. Yeah, so he was old school boy way back when Bill Gaines was doing Tales from the Crypt and that sort of thing. And then Harry North is still around. I'm not sure how old he is, but he lives in England. He's English, and was uh, he wasn't as prolific in Mad as these other guys were, but I
He
mean,
was
he was
more in
the
the
artist on the
80s.
original Star Wars.
Yep, I remember
Yeah, he
him from
was
the
well in
80s,
the
like 70s
70s.
and 80s. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, and he did movie satires every once in a while, and he did the original Star Wars movie satire in '77.
Wow.
He was the artist on that. Yeah, and so he's still around. Tom Bunk,
Yep, I like Tom
he's
Bunk.
still around. Yeah,
He
Tom's
reminds me he reminds me a
probably.
lot of like Jack Davis because you know how his illustrations got that really it's really grungy kind of art, but it works. You know what I mean? Like when he did Goonies and the way he draws the
Mhm.
characters, how they're like their shoes are always messed up and you know there's a hole in their sock. You know what I mean? Like he always adds
Right.
something to it.
Yeah, yeah. There's kind of a manic quality
Yes.
to Jack's stuff, and I see that in Tom's stuff too. It's a lot different, but he has that vibe.
And that brings me to like my next question because I mean I know Mort is one of your favorite artists in Mad Magazine, but what was it about his style that impressed you the most? Like what? Because I definitely can see the homage, like you know what I mean. Like what I really enjoy about your art is you can tell that you're inspired by the greats, but also you made it your own. So you know you took what Sam and them said and was like, hey, you know you're almost there, but and you made it your own. So you have your own distinct style. So when I look at your artwork versus Mort, you can see the similarities, but you can also see the differences. Yours definitely has its identity. So like what was about Mort that inspired you?
Just his sheer incredible ability to draw anything. Um, you could look at it, and Jack Davis was the same way. Even if it was just a chair, you could tell it was a Mort Drucker chair. You
That's
know,
true.
his style was that powerful, and same with Jack. Same with all the Mad artists.
Yeah.
They all have this very distinct look to their art, and people with I know some people that accuse like that think uh, that Angela Torres was just they brought him in to be a Mort Drucker clone, but that's patently untrue. Like in fact, the Mad guys would never give jobs to people that were just really aping the styles of their other artists.
Exactly.
Um, And Angelo had his own style, but some people, if you're not visually adept, I don't know how you would, what kind of label or description it would be, but if you can't see things visually very well, then you look at a line drawing that's a caricature, but it has a strong likeness of somebody, and you automatically think any drawing like that is a Mort Drucker ripoff.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's ridiculous because you can do line art, line style art, and have strong likenesses and have it be caricatures and have it look nothing like Mort Drucker's work.
Yeah.
But some people just can't, they just see a line based likeness and go, oh, Mort Drucker. But in Angelo, he was more portraity than
Yeah.
Mort. His
Yep.
his stuff was based more in the comic book line of doing things, and it had a very different look to it.
His was
And
more humor,
and
like not saying that Mort wasn't funny, but like you said, Mort was deeper with it, and Angelo was more I wouldn't say animated. It was funny, like more like he made fun of the caricatures. You know what I'm saying? Like he wasn't as serious with it. There was definitely that likeness was there. Like the two that stood out that he did that I really enjoyed was Charlie's Angels and Starsky and Hutch.
hmm
You know?
yeah, his likenesses were more, like I said, a lot more realistic based, like more exaggerated expression.
Yep.
uh, and that's the reason that his caricatures were so powerful, is that he would exaggerate the person's expression and capture their personality with just a few lines. That was
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
And Angelo's was more based on their form, and the physical nature of their faces. So he got strong likenesses, but they were like comic book versions of people,
Yes. Exactly.
and
That's the word I
and
wanted to say.
he
Comic
and
book version.
yeah, yeah, and he was really good. Like his strengths were um, how his use of like solid blacks, and the way he composed his panels, and that comes from his comic book background. When Mort had a comic book background too, but he had more of a cinematic quality to his work, whereas uh, um, Angelo just sort of stuck with his comic book roots, and they would create definitely two different feels to how their work was read, and what you saw in it, but they were equally, I think, effective, and like they really could tell great stories.
Nice. So I see that you've done different publications. I looked up some things. You worked with Penthouse, Sports Illustrated, and many others. What was it like illustrating for those different formats versus cartoon and animation?
Yeah, uh, it's interesting that working for Mad would open some doors for me and then close other doors for me.
Yeah.
Because Mad, there's a certain, I wouldn't call it a stigma, but the work that was in Mad is kind of identified as Mad Magazine like work, and some publications really like that look, and I'd get a call from them and do jobs because they liked that look, and then other publications didn't want that look in their magazine. So I never did any caricatures for like People magazine, for example,
Ah.
or some of those entertainment magazines didn't like the more cartoony, Mad magazine-ish quality to the caricatures. They wanted something a little more avant-garde. They'd use um, Robert Risco or Dan Close, or not Dan Close. Space note his name right now. But people that had more kind of funky styles that were a little bit more avant-garde looking, and not as cartoony. So the work I did for Penthouse, that was interesting because they called me and wanted me to do some illustrate a couple of articles for them, and the art director immediately said, "Do you have any problem, working for Penthouse?" And I said, I don't have any problem working for Penthouse, but I won't do any pornographic images. So, I mean, if you want me to illustrate, an article that's with some gag, like the first one I did was a timeline about somebody's day on St. Patrick's Day.
Hmm.
And it was this office worker. And it was a little comic strip sort of thing where at 7 a.m. you show him at his desk and the calendar's behind him that says St. Patrick's Day on it. And he's looking bored. And then by the end of the night, he's passed out, drunk on his bed with, uh, and the little, so that was just a comedy thing. And they did lots of that. And that's what I did for him. And Dave Navarro had there were the guitarist,
Yeah.
Dave Navarro.
Hmm.
He did kind of a comedic, tongue-in-cheek parody of a sex advice column in Penthouse for years. And
Really?
it was very funny.
You're gonna
Yeah,
make
it
you're
was
gonna make me
very
have to go
funny.
back and check out some of the old issues.
It was meant to be funny.
For the artistic
That's the
quality.
whole idea. And so I did a caricature of him for his column every issue for
Yeah.
a couple of years. And it was always him in some kind of goofy situation, like he'd be in a hot tub with two people, and the two people would be looking at him like, "What's Dave Navarro doing in this hot tub with us?" And then stuff like that. So, but that was fun, and they were fun to work with. Um, yeah, Sports Illustrated Kids. That's a great example of how caricature doesn't have to be derogatory.
Right.
Um, you know, and a lot of people ask me that. They say, "Well, isn't caricature supposed to be like a negative thing? Like you're making fun of people, you're ridiculing them?" And my aunt, and I would say, "No, absolutely not.
No.
All a caricature is exaggerating what makes somebody them.
Yes.
So you and if there's a narrative involved, like if I'm doing a caricature of a politician for an article that's critical of them,
Hmm.
I would turn up the mean guy part of the caricature and exaggerate negative qualities about the person and make them
Yep.
look silly or stupid but these pieces for Sports Illustrated Kids were always caricatures of athletes, and they didn't want me to make them look bad. So they were more like whimsical, just fun, humorous depictions of these athletes. And, so you could kind of go back and forth. You could do whatever narrative needed to be served, you could do it with caricature and make your choices to serve that narrative. And so I did a lot of work for Scholastic too, the same thing,
Okay.
caricatures of celebrities or of people that weren't meant to be derogatory. They were just fun.
Now that actually brings me to my next question. But before I do that, I got another squirrel moment. We actually went to the Mall of America, in Minnesota, and got a caricature done by one of the people in the mall. And I'm definitely gonna, off camera, gonna commission you because I'd love to have you do a caricature of my wife and I. I would love that. So that would be awesome. Now, has anyone that you've ever done a caricature of, have they ever felt like insulted or didn't like your depiction of them? And did they say anything or do anything about it?
uh, I've had a couple of celebrities that just made fun of it or kind of rolled their eyes about it. I haven't had anybody actually get upset with me.
Well, that's
Why
I'm
would
not,
they? Because
yeah,
it's a
exactly.
why would they? Because
But
that's
no,
like
no,
a
because
sense of humor, though. It's about having a sense of humor and
that's
also
true.
the interpretation.
Yep.
You
But
can't get mad at somebody else's perception or interpretation of you.
and I think the reason I asked the question is more so because there are so many like vain celebrities out there that I could see
Oh
like
yeah.
certain people be like, "Oh, I don't look like that. My ears are not that big." You know what I mean? Or I don't have a device in my hand all the time attached to my head. But they really do. They really do.
Well, yeah. Fortunately for me, most of the jobs I do, the person I'm caricaturing aren't the people that I'm drawn or aren't the people that hired me. You
Hmm.
know,
That's true.
for a magazine article or whatever. So I don't have to get the subject to approve it. Now, I have had a number of jobs where that's been a problem because the actual subject of the caricature is the one that has to approve it.
Mhm.
And I've had several jobs that ended up getting canceled.
Oh
That I
wow.
that either the job itself got just they abandoned the project, or I finally got fed up and said I'm done with this.
So
And I have had that a
really
couple of times. Yep. I guess the one that sticks out to me was Disney called me. Have you ever been to Disney World?
not yet.
Okay. So at one of the parks that I think it's called Hollywood Studios now, but at the time it was called MGM.
Okay.
There's a roller coaster there that was called the Aerosmith's Rock and Roller Coaster,
Mhm.
and it's an indoor roller coaster. It's a crazy ride. But at the beginning of the ride, you're standing in line, and there's a big video screen that looks like you're looking into a recording booth,
Mhm.
and Aerosmith is in there, and they're mixing their album, and they're getting picked up to go to the concert, and then you end up getting in the limo. The roller coaster is supposed to be the limo, right? And
Right.
anyway, so it's all Aerosmith themed. And the Disney people called me and said they wanted me to do some caricatures of the band members for merchandise in their little store. When you get out of the ride, you go through the store to buy stuff.
Mhm.
And they were going to make T-shirts and all this stuff. So I had to do caricatures of the band. And Steven Tyler and Joe Perry refused to approve any of the ones I did of them.
Wow.
And so eventually they just said, we're just going to terminate the project. And Disney paid me for the time, but those guys got to approve their likenesses, and they wouldn't.
Super sensitive. See, that's the
Yeah.
that yeah, I would have been flattered. I'd have been like, "What? Yes, please make my mouth, my lips look huge." Because I remember, was it Harry North that exaggerated Mick Jagger back in the '80s? I want to say there was a issue where they were like making fun of. They had like Cyndi Lauper. I want to say they had all the earlier '80s icons, and I remember Mick Jagger was one of them that they spoofed. Um, have you ever wrote your own movie script, or if you haven't, what would if you did get a chance to write your own movie, what genre would it be?
Hmm.
I know, right? Good
I don't
question.
think I could. I'm not sure I could write a movie script.
No?
um, I don't know. I've done some parodies, but my own original movie. It would probably be a science fiction
Oh,
story of some kind.
okay. And that's what I actually was thinking too. That's the first thing that popped in my head. So, as we're wrapping towards the end of this interview, we do a thing called lightning round where we basically ask you a bunch of just
Okay.
random questions. And first off, I just want to say thank you for taking the time so much to be a part of our show. Like, I mean, honestly, this was fantastic. Like, I'm just like mind blown for real. I mean, and rest in peace to the original gang of idiots that are no longer with us. And I'm just a quick side note. I remember my first Mad magazine I got was at Perry Drug Store, and it was Mad Looks at Violence, and it had a picture of Alfred E. Newman with the TV on the cover, and they spoofed Death Wish, and that was my introduction to Mad magazine. And from that
Oh
point
wow.
on, it was like I had to have every single issue. Like, and I still to this day, like I probably have extra issues. I got boxes and boxes of them. So you ready? You ready to do this lightning round with us?
Lay it on me.
All right. Top five favorite comedians of all time.
Top five. What kind of comedians?
Comedians, like your favorite
Oh, just
comedians.
comedians.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Lightning round. So Jackie Gleason's number one.
Ooh, good one.
Nice.
Uh, yeah. Dick Van Dyke. I'm old school, man.
Oh
Ooh, love
yeah,
it.
I love
Uh,
So are we.
and yeah.
it.
And the newer ones, I like John Mulaney a lot.
He's
Yeah,
funny.
he is funny.
So I got to come up with two more.
Yep,
Oh
two more.
man. Gilbert Gottfried and
Oh,
Ah,
rest in peace.
yeah,
Yeah, I
rest in
love him.
peace.
boy, how yeah, you really put me on the spot.
I know you got one more.
Robin Williams.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Classic. Classic. Favorite toothpaste.
Colgate.
If you wasn't in the line of work you're in, what would you also be interested in doing?
I would probably be a lawyer.
Nice.
I like to argue things with people.
Favorite Batman villain besides the obvious ones like Joker and Two-Face and Penguin?
Mm. Poison Ivy. Yes.
Nice.
Favorite sock brand?
Sock brand?
Yep.
She has the funniest lightning round questions.
I guess Hanes.
If you could go back in time and bring back two people from the decade you grew up in, who would it be?
Ooh, a good question.
Do they have to be dead people?
Oh, anybody.
Anyone that just pops up in your memory.
Ah, okay. Boy, from I was growing up. Well, I bring back young Dick Van Dyke.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
I've never actually got to meet him, but he's still around. He's like a 99, but and then Carolyn Jones from the Adams Family.
Ooh,
I was
yes,
deeply
love
in love
her.
with Carolyn Jones. When I
Oh,
was a
yeah.
kid.
Yes. Okay. Pepperoni or sausage on pizza?
Why not both?
Prince, Michael Jackson, or Rick James?
Prince.
Nice.
Ooh, nice.
Favorite kind of food?
Steak.
Yummy. Favorite color?
Blue.
Nice.
Favorite Marvel character?
Doctor Strange.
Ooh, nice. Favorite artist besides yourself?
Norman Rockwell.
Nice.
Favorite TV show
Currently or all time?
of
All
all time?
Breaking Bad.
Love it.
Besides Val Kilmer, who is your favorite Batman?
Kevin Conroy.
Nice. Rest in peace to Kevin Conroy. I think that's pretty damn good, man. You didn't sweat too many bullets there. You were cranking them out. But look, we just want to say
Threw
thank
me
you
on
so.
the-
What? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
You threw me on the sock question.
I know, right? She'll do that. Like I'll have a question that's her favorite toothpaste, and so far, Colgate is winning. Colgate is winning. But thank you so much for taking the time, man. Are you coming to Michigan at all? Any time in the future, or any other projects you got? I know you said you're doing the Claptrap too. Where can people find you on your socials, your website? I know you got a newsletter, the Stained Ink Wretch, right?
Yeah, the ink stained wretch.
Ink Stained Wretch. See, I'm like dyslexic.
That's my Substack that comes out every Wednesday.
Yep.
And TomRichmond.com, and I got links to everything from that. So you can just look me up on the web, and
Nice.
I'm kind of active on Instagram still. At least I post stuff there. I don't do much else. I don't do TikTok or anything like that. But the newsletter is kind of where I share things, and it's free.
Yep.
There's a paid version if you want to watch videos and stuff, but it's otherwise free. And I post my, sneak peeks of stuff there, and talk about old jobs and illustration stuff and pop culture. And it's a fun little thing.
Well, thank you so much, man. We
Thank
really
you, thank
appreciate
you.
you. Like you really made my day. Like this,
was so
I'm literally gonna be
excited.
floating to work. So thank
It's
you
my
so much.
pleasure. Thanks for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Definitely, man. And anything else you'd like to say before we wrap it up?
Oh, stay mad, everybody.
All righty. Well, I like that.
Thank you, man. You have a great day. Enjoy your rest of your Monday.
Thanks. You too.
All right.
All
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Man, that was
That was a great interview. That
that
great.
was and I'm not gonna lie, it was hard for me not to drop a couple like cuss words, but I was trying to keep it like
professional.
like as professional as talking nude could possibly be. That's probably about the most tone you'll ever fucking see us fucking ever fucking be.
See how he's getting all his fucks out
I had
now?
to get my fucks out the fucking way. But no, man, it was great to really like. I know you were over there like taking it all in. What did you think?
It was good. Very informative.
Yeah, he was really cool.
Yep,
You
very, very
know?
informative.
And rest in peace to all the original Gang of Idiots, man. And William Gaines, quick little thing for you. I don't know if you knew this. I might have told you. So William Gaines, his father actually started Tales from the Crypt comic and EC Comics. And so with that, man, we're about to get up out of here. We love you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, all the
Thank
fans.
you.
Periodically we put stuff on TikTok, and also I'm working on editing the 50-something episodes we have, so they will be on YouTube sooner than later, but a little later, but
Yeah.
sooner than later. So y'all have a great one. Until then, man, be kind to each other. Stop being an asshole, and hey, stop fucking people's up orders, man. Stop doing it. Pay attention. If someone says warm, it's fucking warm, bitch, not hot. And with that, we're out of here. Fucking
Have
Starbucks.
a good day, you guys.
How do you fucking fuck someone's shit up, though?
I have no
Like,
idea.
fucking morons. They should be.
Talking new.
Maybe if they were like making my drink without their clothes on, and they could be.
Talking new.
You know what I'm saying? I could just order my drink, say warm temperature, and don't forget to be.
Talking new.
They could be back in the back with the ball swinging and clapping and.
Talking new.
I mean, it would be funny to see that. Could you imagine everyone just walking around and just be.
Talking new.
I don't know if I'd want to see the Golden Girls doing that though. Like, although I did like Betty White, she'd be.
Talking new.
She was kind of hot. Like, out of all the Golden Girls, I really enjoyed her. Who was your favorite?
Rose.
Threw you off again.
Yeah, literally.
Till then, y'all, be nice.
Have a good day.
Have a great day, everybody. Yeah. I gotta pee. That's what she said to me.
Me too. I gotta go.
It's all that fucking coffee.
Yeah, it is. Truly.
Have a good one, everybody.
Bye-bye.